Hello, Liverpool fans. Welcome to the Liverpool Report, your go-to source for the latest news, match updates, and transfer stories straight from Anfield. Don't miss out on any of the action. Hit that subscribe button now and stay in the loop with all things Reds.
Liverpool are moving fast to make Hugo Ekitike the club's new centre-forward and know that the equation to making the Eintracht Frankfurt theirs is a simple one. Frankfurt Chief Sporting Director Markus Krösche has already admitted that the German club are willing to sell their top stars if they outgrow their environment at the Deutsche Bank Park, and that includes their French striker. Ekitike has become the team's leading light, scoring 22 times last term as they qualified for the Champions League. His performances have subsequently led to major interest, not least from the Premier League. Newcastle made the first move, seeing a 70 million bid for the 23-year-old turned down by Frankfurt. With the Toon unwilling to sell Alexander Isak this summer, Liverpool have subsequently swooped and are in pole position, with the Frenchman keen to move to Anfield. The Reds approached Frankfurt on Wednesday to register their interest and later informed the club they are ready to bid. Now the two sides are in open contact looking to do a deal, with Ekitike having agreed a 6-year deal at Anfield already. It would be the second major name they've lost in a little over 6 months after strike partner Omar Marmoush moved to Manchester City in January for £59 million. Krösche has made clear that Frankfurt will let their top players seek pastures new when the time is right. He told Sporting in May he's one of the most interesting strikers on the European market. Hugo has to decide that. I'm glad we have him. If he decides otherwise, that's our motto. If a player develops faster than us, we let him go. Ekitike has an £85 million release clause in his deal, but Frankfurt won't hold out for that. Instead, they'll look to do a deal that gives them fair valuation, is a sizable increase on the £14 million they paid PSG, and allows them to reinvest and improve a squad that qualified for the Champions League through league position for the first time. Liverpool are looking to further bolster their attacking options, with Darwin Nunez expected to leave the club. They have also been over-reliant on Mohamed Salah at times and want to help ease the burden on the Egyptian. The French forward has admitted he would like the chance to share the pitch with Marmoush again, which would involve him moving to England. He said last season, "I think he did everything he needed to do here. I'm happy to see him playing in England now. I try to watch his games whenever I can, especially when he's playing. I think we shared some great moments together, and I hope we can play together again or face each other soon." Liverpool have already spent north of £200 million this summer, which included them breaking the British transfer record to land Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen. They have also signed Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez. Darwin Nunez's Liverpool exit has hit a major roadblock. Napoli, long-time favourites to sign the struggling striker, have pulled the plug on negotiations after failing to meet Liverpool's £70 million valuation. With the Serie A giants now turning to Lorenzo Luca, Nunez is left in limbo, but could Saudi Arabia or La Liga offer him a way out? As Arne Slot looks to revamp the Reds' attack with stars like Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak, is it finally time for Nunez to move on? Here's the full story. Liverpool will have to find a new buyer for Darwin Nunez after Napoli pulled the plug on negotiations. Nunez, 26, was ready to swap Merseyside for Naples after 3 difficult seasons at Anfield. The Uruguayan has failed to live up to his £85 million price tag, scoring 40 goals in 143 games since joining from Benfica in 2022. Liverpool's addition of Florian Wirtz, who can play as a centre-forward for 116 spans, plus their ambitious pursuit of Alexander Isak, has signalled that Arne Slot is looking to upgrade on Nunez for the upcoming season. Napoli were favourites to sign the striker, but Liverpool's demands have seen them turn to a cheaper alternative. The Premier League champions had set their asking price at £70 million, whereas Napoli were only willing to pay £50 million for Nunez. Instead, the Serie A title winners are set to sign Lorenzo Luca from Udinese. The 24-year-old will join Napoli on a season-long loan for $8.2 million, with an obligation to buy worth $22.5 million, with reports indicating that boss Antonio Conte is a big fan of Luca and has greenlit the move. Nunez could still find a way out though, with clubs in Saudi Arabia pushing for his services. It's been claimed that new Al Hilal boss Simone Inzaghi has identified the former Benfica star as a target if they fail to sign Victor Osimhen, who's on loan from Napoli but hasn't reported for pre-season training. Liverpool will be cautious of leaving themselves short in attack, however. Bayern Munich recently made a bid for Luis Diaz, who's also wanted by Barcelona, while the tragic death of Diogo Jota will also have sporting repercussions. Nunez last started a competitive match for the Reds on March 8th, scoring in a 3-1 win at home to bottom-of-the-table Southampton. The Uruguay international also got on the score sheet when Liverpool faced Preston North End in their first pre-season friendly on Sunday, another 3-1 victory. Former Liverpool defender Marcus Babbel believes that it's time to move on though. The problem with Darwin Nunez is that he misses too many chances. I think it's got to the point where Arne Slot has lost confidence in him. I think the best thing for Nunez would be to move on from Liverpool, but it won't be easy because he'll be expensive. Babbel, speaking to Adventure Gamers, added, I think Serie A or La Liga would be fantastic leagues for him because the defending isn't the best in Italy and Spain, especially in Spain. If you're a striker, then it's much easier to score goals in those countries. You look at Romelu Lukaku at Napoli, he was at rock bottom at Chelsea, but Conte brought him back to Serie A and he looks back to his best. Maybe if Darwin Nunez moved to Italy or Spain, it would be easier for him to get back to his best. Forget that double at Brentford, Sunday's goal at Preston might end up being the most important that Darwin Nunez ever scores for Liverpool. Following 10 days of unimaginable grief, it was the sight of grinning Nunez reeling off two of Diogo Jota's celebrations after rolling the ball home at Deepdale, which brought a collective smile to Liverpool faces, and which ensured that this first step on the most difficult journey was to be passed together. Prior to that, and as beautifully put by Arne Slot earlier on Sunday, no one was really quite sure what was the right thing to do. Even Conor Bradley's opening goal at Preston barely brought a flicker of recognition. The truth is that there is no right thing to do, of course. There never can be in grief. And nor is the journey through it linear, as evidenced by Nunez's tears in front of the away end after full time. But Liverpool life is never going to stop. And after scoring the goal, which at least tilted the balance of Anfield life in the positive direction, Nunez will now have a lot to say about the next steps towards something resembling normality. Because while not quite in the departure lounge, the Uruguayan has been lined up near the Liverpool exit door for quite some time. His last league start was in March, after which Slot didn't pick him from the beginning of a Premier League game again, due to a payment that would be due to former club Benfica. Nunez himself has long seemed resigned to the fact that he would be leaving the Reds this summer, and when news of Napoli's interest first arose, it looked to be a perfect match. The Italians remain interested in doing a deal, but Liverpool have understandably paused everything of late. Nunez will always have his fans at the club, but in truth, after 3 seasons at Anfield, it would still be no surprise to see him move on as long as the Reds get the fee they will be seeking. That will have always been the plan, however much plans can suddenly change. The addition of a new 9.9 has always been on the agenda too, and a few market movements are now bringing the Reds back to the table when the time is right. Victor Gyökeres looks to be finally completing his protracted move to Arsenal, give or take a couple of agents' payments, while Victor Osimhen is always in the headlines and João Pedro has started life superbly at Chelsea. In amongst everything, it was interesting to note sudden interest in Benjamin Sesko following Liverpool on Instagram in a classic bit of summer transfer window content. It's all just a game at the end of the day. But for the next chess piece to fall, you have to look over to Tyneside. Newcastle's goal-scoring king Alexander Isak is a valuable piece that the fans hope is protected at all costs, but the sudden emergence of Hugo Ekitike like a galloping knight into the Geordie frame is intriguing. Ekitike's name, who has been long linked to Liverpool of course, and shares startling similarities with Isak in the way he plays the 9.9 role. Now in talks with the Frenchman, Newcastle are insisting that they want to play the two together, but how they make that work on both a financial and tactical level is unclear. It is possible, and such a thing has been done before, but after spending 55 million on Anthony Elanga and with well-publicised PSR issues to contend with, it will be fascinating to see just what their next move is. Liverpool's PSR headroom remains strong despite their outlay on Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez and Jeremy Frimpong this summer, with homegrown players like Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kieran Kelleher and Jarell Quansah all generating pure profit transfer fees. More exits will follow theirs, with the Luis Diaz situation not going away. So, for now it is a waiting game, with many already putting 2 and 2 together and predicting that a remarkable move for Isak could just come off. Liverpool will want to stay in the conversation for the Swede, whose proven Premier League goal-scoring pedigree would make the champions an even scarier proposition.